Welcome back, everybody. As the temperature drops in the evening and the days become a little shorter, we all crave a little bit of comfort food. So does this guy.
I do.
Meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Last week we noticed that he was doing some crock-pot cutting and cooking, that is, and when we investigated, it turns out that Jacob is actually cooking up a storm. He's in our kitchen this morning. Jacob, good to have you in the kitchen.
It is exciting to be here. I get to switch from the
weather
weather center.
The weather wall.
That's right, and I get to come over here a little bit and play around with some food, so this is about as good as it gets here.
Well, before we get into our beef stew, I have to know how cooking became such a passion for you. I mean, I hear you talking about storms and rain and percentage chances all the time, not cooking.
Yeah, so honestly, when I was growing up in high school and even in middle school, I loved just kind of being in the kitchen and hanging out with my mom, and we would always cook together. We liked to bake together too, and then as I got older, I just really enjoy cooking for other people as well. So a Crockpot was a great way to bring friends over and just have some time where you get to hang out and enjoy the company of others, and so it's kind of turned into a really fun thing to where get to have fun with friends, and you get to eat some really good food.
Well, I'm not a cook at all, so for me, the crock pot cooking is a draw because what it says to me is you just throw everything in and leave it. Is that basically
That's
what this is
essentially
going to
what you
be?
do. Yeah, there's no real, you don't have to measure too much. You don't have to do really much. It's pour it in as long as you get it in there and cook it good. Most of the time will turn out good. A few little secrets, and I think we'll have a few today for you.
Well, get us started. We love secrets. Get us started on our vegetable beef stew.
All right, so when it comes to vegetable beef soup, you can make it a stew or a soup. Call it whatever.
What's the difference?
A stew is more of a thicker gravy broth, whereas a soup is more of a liquid like a broth.
Okay.
So kind of not too much of a difference there. We could easily turn soup or stew and interchange it.
All right.
But we just have all kinds of ingredients. And the great thing about vegetable beef soup or stew is that you can put whatever vegetables you like in there. So I've got some here. I've got some broccoli.
Like broccoli?
Broccoli is one of my favorites. It tastes good, and you can also get it fresh. And it's about the same price if you buy it fresh and cut it up as you would get it in the freezer section. And the great thing is you get these nice big chunks of the good part of the broccoli as opposed to the freezer bag.
And you don't have, because sometimes you buy the big one, you have to cut it up. You don't have
That's
to
right,
chop
yeah.
it
So
up.
these you can get them at the store. They're pre-cut, or you buy the whole broccoli heads there.
Okay.
Also has celery and carrots. You can buy that either by the stalk or use a bag. I just bought a container that had half carrots, half celery in there.
Okay.
And then canned goods really work well too. We've got canned tomatoes, canned peas, canned corns. My favorite vegetable is spinach. So we always add a little spinach to about everything I make in the crock pot.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And really about anything, and sandwiches and things. And then finally we'll have a couple of red potatoes and half an onion that we'll stick in there.
All right.
And we'll top it off with some beef stew meat. That's
All right.
So we'll
and
go
there is some cutting that needs to happen here.
There is, yes. We'll go ahead and get things started here. So I'll start. I don't know if you want to cut some or grab.
I'm going to let you handle
Sure,
the knife.
that sounds good.
All
So
right.
what we do with potatoes is you can just cube them into pieces of 8. So I'll cut them in half here.
Okay.
And they've been washed and wash them a little bit to get any dirt that's off there.
Okay.
I just like to cut them and lay them down like that, and then I'll just go through and slice them again.
Pretty handy with the knife.
Yep.
Very
Red
nice.
potatoes, I'll spill a little food. That's the one thing. I can be a little messy in the
And
kitchen.
you don't have to worry about peeling the potatoes.
No,
either.
no.
Right.
The peels are perfectly fine on there. It will cook, and it will be just as soft.
Okay.
So once I got those cut, we'll throw them in our
All
bowl here.
All right.
And the
got
great thing too is
onion.
you can buy red potatoes, or you can also buy one of my favorites is actually they're called purple tomatoes, and they're really cool colors. You can mix those in. Really, any type of potato you want there. If you have baking potatoes or things of that,
Okay.
just pour that all into the bowl there.
I see you have an onion. You
We
said
do.
something about secrets. Is there a secret to cutting onions that I won't cry?
Yes, 1, you can keep your mouth open, or 2, if you stick a toothpick in your mouth. I don't have toothpicks, so as long as I breathe through my mouth, it's when you breathe in your nose, that's when you can start to cry a little bit. And sometimes if the onion's strong enough, then
I'm keeping my mouth open.
yeah.
Not,
If it's a little strong onion, sometimes they're kind of out of season and they can be strong. Then you might get a little tear up. But as long as I keep my mouth open and breathe through that there.
Okay.
So I'll just dice this onion.
Okay. So you heard it here from Jacob. Keep your mouth open or put a toothpick in your mouth.
Yes, the
and that
toothpick
will-
works really well. When I used to work, I worked in fast food in high school, and we would always in the back room when we cut onions, we would keep a toothpick in our mouth, and it worked out really well. So I'll put the onion in there. About a half an onion. I'll probably do a little less. I'm not a huge onion fan.
I'm watering up, by the way.
Are you?
But
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm not a huge onion fan, but you can put a half an onion in there and
It
be
just gives
fine.
it a little flavor.
It does. It
every
really
time.
does, and really nice there. Let's
Okay.
go ahead and do our carrots now.
All right.
And grab a bunch here. I don't know if you want to grab some celery if you're good
Sure,
at that.
I think I can handle the celery.
Sure, yeah. So what you do is as long as you keep your thumb tucked in like that, and you can run the blade kind of at an angle away from your hand. Just
Mom, I'm
dice them up.
cooking.
You can also use a bag of baby carrots. They work really well. I've done that before.
Yeah, and
but
you
I think
don't have to dice those up.
no, you don't. You don't have to. I think for the convenience factor is instead of buying a whole stalk of celery and a whole bag of carrots, is I just bought a container that had both in there.
Gotcha.
And we can pour them in like that. So we'll slide those on in there.
All right.
And then got your celery in there.
There we go.
Perfect. So we got that broccoli, pre-cut broccoli. You can get at the store. We're just going to grab a handful
And we're going to put them in there that size.
Yep, we'll put them in. They work just fine. I'll just drop them in. I like a little.
It's going to be a very hearty soup.
It is, yes. And I'm going to cut this one a little bit big there. You can cut them in half, no biggie, not making a mess at all, like that. So we got our vegetables in there, and you can put as much or as little as you want. There's no secret to it. It'll taste good.
Okay.
The last thing is I'm going to cut up our spinach here. Spinach is pretty easy to cut. You can leave it the whole size here.
I almost feel like you can just pull.
You could, yeah.
Apart,
You could pull it apart as well. I just like to kind of bunch it up and put a couple slices in there to give it a little bit of a
All right.
break up there. And there we go.
All right, we've got more vegetables we need to add and our meat, plus there's some seasoning. So we're going to continue with our soup when we come back. Stay with us. All right, we're back, and we're cooking up a storm this morning with our meteorologist, Jacob Dickey. He's in our kitchen this morning making vegetable beef stew or soup or however you want to, thicker or watery.
That's right, yeah. So we're having a great time with that here. We've got our bowl going.
Yes.
We just have a few little vegetables to add here. We'll take our corn.
And again, you said these were all canned.
These are canned, yep.
Okay.
Buy canned good. I drained my corn and my peas, so if you want to grab the peas, I'll pour the corn in here, and you can pour the peas right on top.
You love colors, I think.
I do.
Don't you?
I really do. Things that are very colorful, it makes it look better.
Do we need to drain these?
The tomatoes I like to keep in there. The juice is good.
Okay, so just let it go?
Yep, just pour it all in there on top. So we've got that there. This is all the vegetables that we have in this bowl here.
Okay.
And so what we'll do is we will simply just take this.
All
we're going
to
to
the
pour it
crock
over
pot.
in this crock pot over here.
Okay.
So as we do so, it'll mix up a little bit. Pour it on in there. And I didn't make too much of a mess. That's a good thing.
And so far, all you've had to do for prepping is cutting.
That's about it. And the crock
here.
pot meals are really easy ways to have things to just make it. You make it at home in the morning, leave it on all day, you come home and you got to make it.
And it's ready, okay.
That's right. So we've got that in. I've got my meat here. This is just stew meat. I do about a pound to a pound and a half. I like pound and a half because I like meat.
Okay.
And so we're just going to pour that right on top.
No prepping for that either?
Nope,
no
it comes
pre-browning?
cubed in the store. You can buy it there. And we'll get it all in there.
Okay.
We like to save the meat for the last thing we do, just to keep our vegetables and our meat separate and
Okay.
not cross-contaminate. Then the only thing we have to do is add our seasonings and our broth.
All right.
So I've got some different seasonings here. I've got our oregano. We'll just dump it on the top.
Okay.
Basil is another good one. About a half a tablespoon or so, but there's no real secret to how much. Garlic salt. I really like putting garlic salt on things. And because I like garlic so much, I'll even put a little garlic powder on it. Just pour it on top.
Okay.
Then I've got a mix of salt and pepper. Can't go wrong with that. Dump it in there. And then my last one, this is my favorite seasoning. It's called turmeric. It's kind of a mustardy flavor, and it's a very bright yellow when it mixes in with broth. So it's really a cool color.
So do you like it for the taste or the color?
Both, actually.
Okay.
It adds a nice, rich flavor to it.
All right.
And then it's good there. And then the last thing is we've got some bay leaves. I like to stick a few of those just on top to garnish it, and they'll cook in very nicely with that.
All right.
Then, for our broth, we've got all the vegetables in there. We've got 2 cans of beef broth. And I like to get the unsalted because I can always add salt later. But if I put too much salt from the start, then it can get a little salty on you. So it's better to add salt at the end and get the unsalted canned goods before.
Okay.
We're just going to pour that on top and make sure everything is covered.
All right.
And it's mixing up the seasonings as well, getting it all mixed in there. And then finally, I like to put a little water with it as well, just to make sure it's got plenty of liquid in there. So,
when you say a little, how much is a little?
you know, honestly, it's just going to be until it gets to close to the top there. So there's no real measuring secret here. It's just
See,
how it
that's
looks.
not good for me. I need measurements.
There we go, yeah.
But I'll
Maybe-
trust you. I'll trust you.
So then we've got that in there. We are all set with that. We can mix
Okay.
it up a little bit.
So when
if
you
you want
put
to pass
this
me my
on-
black ladle there.
When you put this on, are you going to put it on low, medium, or high in the crock pot?
I like to cook it on low for
Okay.
4 to 6 hours, but if you can't, say you're not able to get home until, you know, say it'll be cooking for 7 hours or 8 hours, it'll still be just fine at that.
All right.
So we'll just turn our crock pot
4
on
to
low
6
here.
hours. We have 2 minutes, and I promise you it will be done when we come back. Stay with us. We're back. Voila, TV magic. 4 to 6 hours later, or 2 minutes, it's already ready.
Yeah,
Our
it is.
vegetable beef soup.
We have our vegetable beef soup ready, and it is ready to serve.
Let's
so we're going
do
to
it.
serve it here. Are you ready to try some?
I'm ready.
It is delicious, nice, and well cooked. There's a lot of vegetables and a lot of meat in here, and so that's
It's thick and rich. it
very
looks
thick,
like.
yes. But there's
All right.
still broth in there, which is good.
Our meteorologist who also cooks, who, by the way, has exchanged all of our cookbooks back here in our kitchen with weather books.
I did.
He's
There's subliminal
redecorated the
messaging there.
kitchen.
So we'll get some in there.
All right.
And here's the first bowl. What I like to do is you like to stick a little bay leaf on top there.
All right, and a little cheese.
And a little cheese, yes. I'm from Illinois, and we like to put our cheese in
You may
things.
have to give me that bowl because we're running out of time.
Sure, we'll do that.
I have to test. You brought a spoon for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Here it is.
All right.
So you've got this on the website, too. We'll have that up there. You can go on to WCBA.com and get that. And we get the final bill of approval.
Delicious.
Oh, good to hear, good to hear. I can keep my job?
This is going to, you can keep your job. Will you continue to forecast weather and give us good, hearty, warm food to keep us warm?
Yeah, definitely.
Through the winter? Okay. Very good. Again, this will be on our website, the recipe. Come back and cook with us, please.
I will.
You really do cook up a storm.
Thank you. I appreciate it, yes.
All right, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow. I'm having stew for breakfast.